don't even care about weddings. I don't even care about weddings. I don't. I know people care about weddings. I don't. But I do. I just think it's messed up that with Porsha, who had 27 weddings, 27 receptions, 63 outfit changes. She got married. Girl somewhere in Africa. Girl somewhere in Georgia. Girl, I think she scooted on down to Florida. Girl had a few girl weddings in Texas. Girl, Portia was even learning how to do the Nigerian electric slide. Y'all don't remember? Y'all don't remember Portia coming out there? Girl, girl, baby, Portia had a whole coming to America wedding. I bet you, if Shamia would have missed Portia's wedding, did Shamia go to Portia's weddings? I'm not sure. But if someone who Portia cared about missed her special day, Portia would have had a fit. But this is the problem though, because either Shamia is lying about the conversation she had with Portia about the things that Portia has done in the friendship, or either girl, it just was a flyby conversation and it was just swept under the rug. Because those feelings are starting to come up, and they're coming up as if, girl, the conversation was never. Girl, let's go ahead and get into the review. Girl, let's go ahead. Let's get into the review. This episode was actually kind of cute to me. I don't know why it's taking me so long to come down here, because I watched the episode last night and then I started watching the episode again um, today. It was almost 5 o'clock, and it is, I think it's almost 9 o'clock right now. Matter of fact, it's 9:04 p.m. and I'm just now getting the review. I don't know why I've been starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping the second time around watching this episode. I don't know why it took me so long to watch the episode again. I will stop, get on Twitter, stop, get on Instagram. Girl, stop, walk in the kitchen. Stop, girl, made me a lean, well, not made, but, put a lean cuisine in the microwave. Stop, get back on Twitter. Stop, get on Instagram. Stop, get on Jack. Stop, get on Grindr. Stop, get on BGC Live. Stop, get on Christian. I would just want a lot of stopping and starting. Anyways, we down here. And anyways, the episode was cute. The episode was cute. This is the beginning of the end of Shamia and Porsha. I have a lot to say. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we'll just start off with Kelly. Can Kelly cook? Because one of those children of hers, it sounds like she said her mama can't cook. So maybe maybe she's good at cooking chicken and waffles. Or maybe she just opened up can Kelly cook? But just because she owns a restaurant doesn't mean that she could. That doesn't mean she can cook. That could have been a great business decision, but that doesn't automatically mean she can cook. And based off of one of those kids, they said their mama can't cook, so I don't know. Kelly is talking to the oldest daughter. I forgot her name. They're having conversations about her. A conversation about her working in the summer. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think it seemed too much for Kelly to be trying to push her daughter to work? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, one, I worked in high school. I had a job when I was 16. I worked during the school year. I started working at 16. Now, I was only working like 20 hours a week, something like that. Sometimes probably pushing 30. If it was like, I would get a lot of my hours on the weekend. But I still worked during high school, the school year. I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially being summertime. I mean, she's like 17, about to graduate. Girl, what else are you going to be doing? She can get a cute little job down to the Burger King, YMCA, Chick-fil-A, I don't know, Target, Walmart, I don't know, Dollar Store, I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I know some people don't like their kids to work. But again, I think that with it being summertime, um, and again, girl, what you gonna do? Just sit in the house all day? No, you can get a little cute a summer job. Anyways, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, baby. Baby, the way I think that Shamina and peach juice need to be popped in their face, girl, not by me because I'm a man. I'm talking about Drew. If Drew was to get her hand and wrap it around a piece of Portia's hair and pop her 3 or 4 times, I would understand. If she was to get, girl, an inch or two of Shamia's 27 piece and pop her 3 or 4 times, I would understand. I would. Shamia, I be trying to get into Shamia's looks. I do. I was trying to force myself to like Shamia's look when she went and met up with Ralph. Someone told me that Shamia said that she had spent like $35,000 on clothes. I don't know if they meant that meant she spent $35,000 for the upcoming season. But I think Shamia is a study of what happens when, if that is true, what happens when you think because you spend a certain dollar amount on your pieces that you think that automatically equates to you having style, right? Um, Shamia is one of the girls who could be labeled as a label whore, right? Because she might got some expensive pieces here and there. But where the problem starts to come into play is because Shamia, her stylists, don't know how to put those pieces together. I see they're trying to make Shamia like I guess one of the fashion girlies is just not landing. Now, with that being said, Shamia looks damn good in her after show look. I think that's fab, and the look she had on there was almost kind of similar. But I guess you got to stick to what works for you. And she was on Watch What Happens Live last night in this yellow one too. I thought Shamia looked great. So Shamia's starting to get it together, and I think Shamia also recognizes because I saw a clip of the after show, and they were talking about the fashions, and Shamia, I think the question was posed, who is the best and worst dressed of the group, and Shamia made a comment saying, based off of what people say, I guess I would say that I'm the worst dressed. She said something along those lines. So Shamia sees that people are saying that girl, she looks a fool. Girl, she looks a fool. But like I said, girl, Shamia looked great in the after show with the blue dress and the white heels, and also when she made her appearance last night on Watch What Happens Live. But yeah, I just can't. I be trying to get into Shamia's looks, and I just can't. I feel like a lot of people can't either. Girl. Um, I'm trying to understand how Shamia's brain works. And maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Maybe I'm not processing what I'm saying the right way. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong or right. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Shamia said, and I'm paraphrasing, no, she did say it was inappropriate for Drew to be working with Dennis. And I remember her also saying something along the lines of like, kind of like, girl, you couldn't find anybody else to work with. Like, even Dennis came and he wanted to work with Shamia. I think it was like an acting job or something. And Shamia basically kind of like turned it down. Remember, she said something along those lines. But then I look up and you're having a meeting slash dinner with Ralph about an upcoming podcast that he wants to do. Now, Shamia, I guess, is trying to say, well, it's a difference because I've already worked with him. But this is where the problem comes in for me. If you can see, or if in Shamia's head, if it's wrong for Drew to work with Dennis, then why is it not wrong for you to have already worked with Ralph and then meet up? And I guess you're being what is it called when you an expert in the field? You're his advisor, right? What's the difference? Like, really, what's the difference? What it looks like is that you were doing Portia's dirty work for her to get Portia in the picture so she could deliver whatever tea that she wanted to deliver to Ralph. Again, if Drew was to get Portia by a piece of her hair and scalp Shamia bald headed ass, then I wouldn't even see nothing wrong with it. Because now you're playing in my face. And the simple fact that they met up with this man, knowing that Drew is in the middle of a divorce, and it sounded like to me that Ralph was fishing for information, like, does Drew still work with Portia on her hair, with her hair company? Did y'all hear when Ralph asked that? I said, oh girl, he's fishing for tea. He's trying to figure out, girl, what Drew got going on, financially. Even though I think that Ralph's, played a big part, or he was over the money, but still. Portia pops up. He says he didn't know Portia was coming. I believe it. Portia pops up. Now, I did kind of giggle when they started ordering everything off the menu. I looked up, baby. Portia said, Portia, I want some lamb chops. Can I get the lamb chops? A Henny? Girl, she love her Hennessy. Can I have a Hennessy XO on the ice? Girl, bring me the lamb chops. For the appetizer, go ahead, bring them crab cakes. Girl, them fish strips, yeah, bring that. For the side, let me have the little candy yam. Mashed potatoes with the gravy on the side. Bring me some asparagus too. Oh, you bring that broccoli also. Girl, let me get that 14-ounce steak. Okay, medium. Okay, then here goes Shamia. Shamia, let me get the snapper. The Brussels sprouts. Yeah. Also bring me the lobster mac and cheese. But when I said they ordered that shit out that menu, and Ralph was sitting there looking like, girl, I hope my car go through. Anyways, then Portia brings up the text messages. I'm sorry, I don't believe whatever storyline or narrative that Portia is trying to push, that there's something inappropriate going on with Dennis and Drew. I'm not buying it. One, I need to know why they're not putting these text messages on the screen, because they usually do that. Two, I feel like whatever text message Portia is reading, she's taking them completely out of context. I believe that. I believe it. She's trying to twist it. The next thing is this. Portia's trying to get her lick back by meeting up with Ralph and asking him and telling him these inappropriate things, like, have you ever sniffed another woman? Where'd you sniff her at? Girl, what? And this is no shade, but there are people online also. I saw a few people online trying to draw a parallel to Drew working with Dennis and Portia meeting up with Ralph. That is not the same at all. Because the fact of the matter is, we have not seen Drew have any type of inappropriate conversation, ask him any type of inappropriate questions. But even if she did, that would have nothing to do with Portia. Because technically, Portia is a married woman. If y'all forgot, Portia's last name is Portia Gubadia. Be very clear. Okay? And also, Portia said out of her own mouth that the relationship with her and Drew is not that deep. And if you go back and watch the conversation she had with Cynthia on her birthday trip, she slipped up and said, at least I feel like she slipped up and said before the cameras kind of cut the audio off, that girl, they were friends basically because of the show. So Portia has pretty much said that friendship with Drew don't mean shit. It ain't shit and they never meant shit. So if Drew wanted to, make cupcakes, bang like bongos, then by Dennis, it is what it is. However, I do think it is completely inappropriate for Portia to meet up with Drew's husband, even if they are going through a divorce, because in her head, she feels like this is the same level of what Drew is doing to me, meeting up with my baby daddy. Girl, that is not the same thing. And then you're asking this married man, has he sniffed another woman, and where did he sniff her at? Girl, what are we talking about? If Drew walked in a restaurant and caused the scene, I would have completely understood. And then on top of that, we're going through a divorce. We're going through a divorce. And you know that it's not the best divorce. And you're sitting here telling this man, excuse me, you're sitting here, let me drink some water, hold up. Excuse me. You're sitting here telling this man that I'm screwing or I offered this nigga some pussy for beats. You see what I'm saying? The road that Porsha is going down is very nasty to me because she knows how it can get when a divorce happens, especially if it's not, you know, most divorces end in war, especially when it's a little bit of money involved and the people don't like each other. She tells Ralph that Drew was talking about her child. Girl, oof. I ain't got no children. But the way that they are acting as if Drew was just dragging Pilar, I don't like that because that's and Drew not even somebody I go up for. Y'all already know. But we're not gonna sit here and act like Drew was talking about that little girl. Drew made a comment about her working with Dennis would be able to send Pilar to college. And some way, somehow, it's being flipped to, I don't know if people are trying to, or Porsha is thinking that Drew is saying she broke and she needs the money. And I think that Drew even said that that was part of the conversation that her and Dennis had. I can't remember. But it doesn't take away from what I feel is that Drew was not talking about Pilar. She was not talking about Porsha and Dennis's daughter. And her saying what she said, I never took it. Well, I guess it doesn't matter how I take it, but I wouldn't take it as a dig. I wouldn't. I don't mind calling out Drew when I spot or when I smell some bullshit. Like to me, Drew was on some bullshit when she tried to act like, oh, Dennis is like my angel, and he was the reason why I got out of bed. Like Drew knew what she was doing. Drew was trying to push the storyline of her and Dennis probably having something going on, right? I ain't gonna never let that die down. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because the fact is Porsha is married, Drew is going through a divorce. If she wanted to bang Dennis, she could, because based off of what Porsha said, they're not even cool like that. So at that point, Drew really don't owe Porsha a goddamn thing. And to Drew's defense, she did try and get in contact with Porsha. Porsha kept postponing, canceling. So at that point, what am I supposed to do? I think it's whack that Porsha and Shamia are meeting up with Ralph. I do. Now, however, I'm with Shamia. They were talking about Angela. And some of y'all not gonna like what I'm about to say, and that's okay. If Angela can go, if Angela can look past or work past whatever issues her and Porsha had when Porsha said that she was gonna sleep with Charles, then you can get over Shamia laughing. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The fact of the matter is, regardless if we understand Shamia and Porsha's friendship or not, the fact is they've been friends for almost 3 decades. That's just a fact. The fact is, Angela and Porsha just met. I mean, Porsha and Shamia just met Angela a few weeks ago. So even if Porsha said what she said and Shamia giggled, girl, at the end of the day, Shamia really didn't owe Angela nothing. Now, when it's brought to my attention that you heard what she said, then I can apologize and say, you know what, I shouldn't have laughed, and Porsha shouldn't have said what she said. I'll tell her, or I'll let her know that, girl, you feel some type of way about it, and she should apologize. Now, Shamia could have put her big girl panties on and just took the higher road, right, in that moment. But in the grand in the bigger picture, girl, it is what it is. And I said this, and I'll say it again, girl. Not to defend Porsha, because that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not, that's not my thing. Unless I just have to, unless it's the right thing. But girl, they were having kitchen table talking away. Angela overheard. Right? She came downstairs, bust up the party. But the fact of the matter is, Porsha said what she said. And instead of Porsha just owning up to what she said, she got to running. And if it really was a joke, if it really was a joke, Porsha would have said it on camera. But it wasn't a joke. That's why she said it off camera. And then she got pissed off because Angela heard. Because she knows some truth to it. I will fuck her husband. And I'm about to get on Angela in a little bit too. I know Angela's y'all fave, but we got to tug on Angela's wig too. Sorry, y'all. Um, so Angela and Kelly, they meet up. Angela says she owns 5 investment properties and she's in debt $2 million. Ooh, girl. I hope she can sell them houses because those houses just sitting around. Ooh, girl. Let's get into it. We have to tell the truth, y'all. Even if it's for even when it comes to our faves. The same way I said I was disgusted when Kenya pulled that stunt down in her salon, we're gonna have to tell the truth about Angela too. Angela sounds like a goddamn fool. Her and Shamia sound just like this, if we're gonna be honest. So Angela talks to Kelly, and she's basically talking about Wendy Williams. So remember the infamous clip. Um, it resurfaced of Wendy telling a story of Charles, of her meeting up with Angela and Charles, and basically saying that Angela told her that, girl, it's only a baby, and Wendy thought that Angela was referring to her current husband, which is Charles. Well, Angela was actually talking about her daughter's father. The father, I think her daughter's father passed away. And she was saying it's just a baby. Girl, stop. Girl, for Angela even say some shit like that, girl, it's just a baby. Girl, to me, that's no different than what Shamia said last week when she said that stupid ass shit talking about, oh, if somebody said that my husband was cheating on me and had a baby, it would hurt my feelings. But I would be like, girl, can we have the baby? Because we're trying to have a baby ourselves. She said something along those lines. Girl, the girls will stay with a nigga. Not only if they cheat, and girl, if the niggas have a little baby running around her too. Because girl, Angela just said it. I was telling her. Now Wendy had some of the players wrong in the story, but bitch, the story still was them. They're pretty much the same. Girl, we just switch out Charles and the baby daddy. The story still remains the same. Angela sounds like a fool. Telling Wendy, girl, it's just a baby. It's just a baby. Girl, what? Girl. Then she finally admits that Charles is community dick. Girl, again, I know that Angela is a fan favorite right now, but we got to tell the truth and shame the devil. I told y'all. Girl, I told y'all when Angela came down to our TV screens with that bullshit story saying that her and Charles separated and they had just gotten married. And it was due to him being banned from a goddamn gymnasium, Madison Square Garden. I said, girl, that don't even sound right. Ain't no way that woman gonna convince me that her and her new husband all of a sudden split up because he was banned from Madison Square Garden. I said it sounded like a little cheatation was going on. Did I not say that? And then here come Angela telling us this episode that there has been some infidelities in their marriage, and that was basically part of the reason why they separated the first time around. I knew it, which brings me to the next thing, and that's why Angela feels what she feels about Porsha. Because as much as y'all might not want to admit it, Porsha probably could fuck Charles. The other bitches fucked him. Hello, Angela now, and Charles him too. That's why she feel what she feel about Porsha. Because she know that once upon a time, not long ago, your husband was a hoe. and you admitting it. Okay? And that's just what it is. It won't be hard to see with Charles. Well, it might be now because Charles is what? How old is Charles? So, it might not work the way it was working 10 years ago. But girl, he pop a couple of Viagra's, honey packs, a Red Bull, he'll be good to go. What the diva call them, Viagra smoothies? Drink a Viagra smoothie too. He'll be good to go. She says she's being transparent. Girl, at first, Angela, you were not being transparent at all. Girl, how many times did I scream, girl, it's holes in Angela's stories? Because this is not, no, mm-mm, mm-mm. It's holes in Angela's story, baby. I don't care what she say. It's some holes in her story. Girl, now we're starting to figure out what those holes were. um, so Angela, now that we done shifted on Angela's wig, I gotta give Angela her props, babe. When I tell you Angela is working the dog shit out of this show, Angela is moving like someone. Angela's moving like a reality TV vet. She really is. She really is. I have to give Angela her flowers. The way Angela is pushing these storylines along and the way that she kind of, you know, picks up and can, know when to like jump in. It's only it's kind of like, can I toot my own horn? It kind of reminded me of my interview with Dr. Heavenly. Can I toot my horn just a little bit? I'm gonna toot my horn just a little bit. It kind of reminded me of my interview with Dr. Heavenly when we were talking, and I remember at one point during the interview, I wanted to bring up Dr. Damon, but I was so scared because I was like, "This nigga gonna curse me," because Dr. Heavenly get about her husband. I was like, I want to bring this nigga up so bad, but I don't know how I'm gonna bring him up. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like I have to bring it up because if I don't, girl, the cousin's gonna be like, "Girl, you didn't even bring that nigga up, girl." And I remember when Dr. Heavenly mentioned Dr. Damon, and like my mind was racing like 1,000 miles per hour, and I was like, "Girl, this is your time, girl. Just do it." Like I feel like she's comfortable with you at this point, so just go ahead and just just go. She already opened up the door, bringing up Dr. Damon, bitch. Just knock that hoe off the hinges and just ask what you need to ask. So, anyways, I'm saying that to say that Angela does a good job at when it's time to knock the door off the hinges, she will. um when she met up with Porsha. Oh, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll tell you how what Angela does. So now we're getting to the point where they're talking about Porsha and Shamia. So basically, Shamia, Angela, and Drew went out for drinks. And this was, I guess, after Shamia. I guess this was around the time. Oh, I guess this was after I guess this is after the whole after she had her dinner at the bank, whatever it was, the dinner she had. And this is what it sounds like to me. I'm not gonna lie. It does not sound like Shamia was dogging Porsha out. It does sound like Shamia was talking about her friendship with Porsha. I think those are two different things. I think this is what happened. I think that once they went out for drinks, the drinks started flowing, and Angela started asking questions about Porsha and Shamia's friendship based off of what she saw on the TV. And I think that Shamia just basically started saying, like, and I'm just, I'm thinking this is what Shamil was saying. Like she was, well, they said this is what she said. She was upset about the wedding, right? Porsche didn't come to the wedding. I'm sure Angela probably brought up the whole Phaedra, Candy, and Todd thing. So I think that Shamil was just telling her, like, it did bother me, X, Y, and Z. I don't like the fact that people call me her lapdog, even though Shamil, that's your fault. Okay, please don't ever forget you were the one who came down to the internet posting a picture thinking it was cute. Now Shamia probably regrets posting that picture. The picture of her sitting in Portia's lap saying that she was a lapdog. Now that was back, I think, in 2021. We're in 2025, 2024, probably when they shot this episode. What was it, 2000? Yeah, 2024, probably when they shot this episode. So I can see Shamia probably regretting that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you also helped push that title on you. So I could see again Shamia probably just talking about the things that have transpired between her and Porsha's relationship and her, you know, not necessarily dogging out Porsha, but just speaking about the friendship. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, and I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. Oh girl. Bang bang, Cleo Edie. Girl. Girl. What her introduction? Girl, keep her introduction. 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 I really could. Brit ain't that bad. I know, girl. Team Square, don't get mad at me. Brit really not that bad, y'all. You know the people say I'm Carlos King. He like all the girls. I don't have no issue with Brit. She cool. I just wish she would have pulled that stunt with my girl Kenya, with Queen Kenya. But she all right. I don't think she should be on the show though. Okay, but she all right. Long story short, they ain't talking about nothing. Her mother moving in. Mike, her and Mike like to walk around naked or something like that. So they're gonna have to, I guess, change it up since her mother is moving in. She's telling Mike, is that her husband named Mike? I think her husband's name is Mike. She's telling her husband the stuff that Angela said at Cynthia's Bailey Q about girl. She called that lady a whore. Not a hoe, but a whore. Oh, girl, she called you a whore. And Mike was like, why would she say why would she say some shit like that? Girl, I'm not saying it. 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 But I'm just telling you what the people say. She said it that way, and she said what she said because they say your wife is a hoe. Girl, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Britney do. I don't know what she did in the past. We all got a little hoe in us. Okay, I was a hoe too once upon a time not long ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not hoe shaming, slut shaming nobody because we all been hoes and sluts before, right? But I'm just saying, girl, why would she say some shit like that? Because if they say your wife was down to the goddamn webcam sucking dick. Like, what you mean? Why would she say that? And I'm just gonna be honest, girl. Every time I look up, Britt and Kelly got their ass and titties hanging out. Girl, I'm not mad at the ass and titties hanging out because they grown women, and you know what I'm saying. But I do be looking like, girl, why is Kelly and Britt ass and titties always out? Like I'm talking about out. Girl, like Kelly, you literally drove around Atlanta, girl, like you was a Victoria's Secrets model with this big ass thing on your back, girl, with a thong on. Baby, I like it when the beat goes. And got out the car with your ass out. Britney got pasties on her nipples, ass out. I was like, girl, where are they going? Girl, where is you going? It'd be like 3:00 in the evening. Girl, on a Wednesday. Girl, and Britt and Kelly gonna have their ass and titties out. They're gonna have their ass and titties out. Like when they went to Tennessee and Britt was walking around with her cheeks, girl, just out at 1:00 in the evening. Girl, I don't have a problem with, you owning your body, dress how you want to dress, but girl, I come from a time where, girl, when you dress like a hoe, it usually be after 11:00 at night. Girl, we don't, it's like, you bring out your whole clothes after a certain time. We not really dressing like hoes before noon. I I love it though. And you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy? It's like even when they were dressed up, um, I feel like all the girls had on like lingerie, and it's no shade. And Britt had on Britt had on the whole clothes. Britt had on that outfit that the strippers be wearing. Everybody had on lingerie. Porsha had on lingerie. Shamia had on lingerie. Angela had on lingerie. Bitch, that was a whole outfit that Britt had on. I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care. I don't care. Britt and Kelly dressed like they just got their bodies done. I'm not mad at it because I would be the same way too. I'm not saying that they've gotten their bodies. I mean, girl, it looked like Britt got a little BBL, a little boob job, but I don't know about Kelly. Kelly looked like she got. Well, I'm not gonna start going that what I think the girls got done, but it appears as though when people first get their bodies done and they be like, "Bitch, I got this new ass. I'm showing off this ass today. Girl, I got these new titties, right? I'm showing off these titties today, right? Like it's like they just got their bodies done. And girl, it don't matter what day it is, it don't matter what time it is, girl, the titties and ass is gonna be out. The titties and ass will be out on a Tuesday at 3:00 in the evening. The titties and ass gonna be out on a Thursday at 1:00 in the evening. It just is. Now, let me shut up. Let me shut up. Let's move on. Anyways, but he says he's not a controlling guy. They were talking about her sister. I don't know if he's controlling or not, but I do remember that one scene where Britt was out with her sister and he kept calling and calling and calling and calling her phone. So again, I don't know if he's controlling, but I did find it kind of odd that he more than likely knew that Britt was shooting a scene with her sister for this TV show, and yet and still he continued to call her phone. So Angela and Porsha meet up, baby. So Angela's daughter is a lesbian. I said, oh, baby, she's a kissing lesbian. I know that's right. Shout out to Amari. Welcome to the family, girl. Okay.
Baby girl said that we was gay, girl. We was kissing lesbians, girl.
What about your lesbian relationship, bitch? What about it?
It's so crazy because I was on the phone with one of my friends and I was saying how Amari might be a lesbian. We were talking about her possibly being a lesbian. And I was saying how, with the mother calling her demonic, just listen to me. I said, there's a reason why that lady called her demonic. I'm not saying it's right. Of course, I'm not saying it's right. But I was like, girl, for her to call Imani, or what's her name, Imani or Imani? I don't know the girl's name, Angela's daughter. I don't know the girl name. Demonic, it's probably because, girl, she got that homosexual spirit running through her veins. At first I was like, girl, is it a nigga? Because why would she not want to why would she run off and get married? And then if you started to listen to the pronouns that Angela used, she always referred to the person as they. And I'm gonna give y'all a little tad bit one too. Girl, whenever you hear people talking about who they're dating and they don't use pronouns like he, him, her, she, and they say they, girl, it's probably the same sex. Because most people will just be like, girl, I went on a date with, and he said, and he was nice. I went on a date with, and she, and this. If they start talking about, they were nice, they picked me up, my daughter is involved with this person, girl, they seem nice. She married them last week. And that's what Angela has been doing, in my opinion. But anyways, nonetheless, but it's also, I have to acknowledge too, that girl, it's not Angela's place to tell her daughter's business. So if her daughter didn't want people to know that she was a lesbian just quite yet, then that could have also been a possibility that Angela was just trying to, girl, honor my daughter's, you know, request. But anyways, nonetheless, the daughter is a lesbian. Amari, that's her name. Amari, I wrote it down. Amari is a lesbian. Um, so Porsha says I went to dinner with Shamia and Ralph was there. No, that's not what happened. You and Shamia got together and planned for Shamia to go to dinner with Ralph and you was gonna pop up. That's what happened. Porsha is telling Angela that basically Drew was trying to sleep with Dennis. Porsha is some nasty work. I don't think for a second that Drew has tried to sleep with Dennis. Now I don't even think that at this point Dennis has tried to sleep with Drew. Now would he probably sleep with Drew if Drew offered him a little puss? He probably would. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think either one of them has crossed that line. I don't. Um, and then she starts to tell Angela about Drew basically talking about her daughter. And then Angela says, well, girl, that's really not how it was said. And so Porsha was like, well, that's how Shamia, kind of told me, delivered it a different way. And baby, that's what I'm talking about. Angela, as soon as Porsha mentioned Shamia's name, girl, here go Angela. Basically, speaking of Shamia, I said, come on, bitch. As soon as Porsha mentioned Shamia's name, girl, she saw that door crack and Angela bust that hole down off the hinges. And she basically tells her that, she talked to Shamia and Shamia feels that their friendship is lopsided. She doesn't want to really be seen as her lapdog. Now, at this point, now they just breaking the fourth wall, which I love. Um, she doesn't really want to be seen as your lapdog, and she's afraid to have a conversation with you. And then Porsha, girl, Porsha cover her face up with the fan. Porsha, what the fuck you crying for? Now I was about to try and give Porsha the benefit of the doubt. At first, my initial thought was, okay, Portia's probably hurt. Believe it or not, here I go trying to defend Porsha at first. At first, I was like, Portia's probably hurt because now she realizes that this is where the bullshit starts with my friend, Shamia. They're about to come after our friendship. So that could be one way to look at it. Porsha has been doing reality TV for a very long time, so she knows when the bullshit is about to start. But then on the flip side, it's like, girl, why are you having a complete total breakdown in front of Angela based off of the things that Angela is telling you? Girl, you already having a breakdown? Because Porsha really knows deep down that the demise of her friendship with Shamia, most of it falls on her shoulders. The majority of it falls on Porsha's shoulders. We're going to get into it. Um, so Porsha basically ends up leaving. She says she's overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. Overwhelmed with what, girl? Overwhelmed with what? Because maybe we will understand why you're overwhelmed, but girl, you really not telling us your personal business. So as far as we're concerned, you ain't got shit going on. Why the fuck you overwhelmed? See, this is what happens when you create these fake ass storylines instead of just being honest about what's happening in your life. Because maybe if Portia was being honest about what was really happening in her life with her and her husband, then maybe it would be easy to say, okay, I can see why she's probably overwhelmed. She got this going on with the nigga. She got this going on with her businesses. She got this going on with the show. She got this going on with her friend. Like, it would be easy to kind of like have a little soft spot for Porsha. But being that Porsha ain't really telling her business, then I'm looking at it through the lens of why the fuck are you overwhelmed? Because the stuff that Angela's telling you, girl, it shouldn't be enough for you to just break down. Not that easily. So, anyways, Drew is at home and she's cooking some breakfast for her son. I don't know where the other two were at. Maybe they was out. I don't know. Maybe they was asleep. I don't know. I said Drew has a full. Drew has a drawer full of condiments. Y'all saw her with that McDonald's syrup. Girl, I said, baby, Drew probably got McDonald's syrup packages, girl, ketchup packages, Taco Bell packages, Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce. You know, everybody. I know we had it growing up. Girl, you know, you got that one drawer with just condiments. So like when you run out, girl, you got some ketchup in the drawer. Oh, girl. Now, some of y'all gonna have to explain this to me. The kids, she's meeting up with Dr. Ken. Dr. Ken is her life coach now. I was so confused. The judge feels like it's best not to tell the kids that they're getting a divorce. I need for the therapists out there to break this down to me. Because the reason why I'm confused with that is because, one, Josiah is already, based off what they said, seeing articles online about his mommy and his daddy or stepdaddy. Okay. Then you have the kids whose father lives in the basement and Drew lives upstairs. Then on top of that, you have Drew who has to leave the house on certain days of the month. Then you have Ralph who also has to leave the home on, I think, separate days of the month, right? So all this stuff going on, how is it best not to tell the kids about the divorce when they probably already have some type of sense that something is going on, especially the oldest one? I don't like when people treat kids like they just fucking stupid. I'm gonna tell you right now, bitch, if something was going on at my sister's house, baby Tatum and Stone gon' know. Okay? If my brother-in-law just started disappearing and girl, he been gone, even past a few days, unless he going to work, right? He gonna be back in a few days. Past that, girl, Sloan gonna be asking questions. Where is daddy? Okay? Bailey gonna be talking about, girl, she'll ask me, girl, where is daddy? Girl, he at work. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Tatum gonna know. So for them to act as if all this stuff is happening right underneath these kids' noses and they shouldn't know or they already don't have some type of idea, I think it's almost like a slap in those kids' faces like they just dumb and they're not gonna know. Those kids know something is going on. Daddy just ain't in the basement just to be in the basement. Mommy just not leaving the house 2 or 3 times out the month just because she wants to leave the house 2 or 3 times out of the month. Josiah, whatever the boy name is. His name Josiah? Jesus, I don't know that boy name. Girl, he's just not reading articles. Maybe if all this stuff wasn't going on, then maybe, but all this stuff is happening. And the judge says it is best for them not to tell the kids that they're getting a divorce. At least with Stacy, I'll bring Stacy into it. At least with Stacy and her husband, it made a little bit more sense because Stacy could just lie and say, I'm going to work, even though she had her little bachelorette pad, in DC. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, Pamper by Porsha. When I tell you Porsha used those girls to promote her Pamper by Porsha, threw them bitches some chicken sliders and some mimosas, and had a full blown on photo shoot. And Drew walked in asking questions like, "What's going on, girl? Is this like what are we doing? Girl, is this a promo? Girl, this is a full photo shoot." I would have been asking the same questions too, especially with somebody who don't like me. Girl, you think I'm about to sit here and be your model and promote your brand for free? And you going around town telling people that I'm trying to kill baby daddy, even if I was, girl. But that's not what's happening. and meeting up with my husband, asking him, girl, has he sniffed another woman and where he sniff at? But you gonna offer me some fucking chicken sliders and lobster rolls and a little mimosas, a little girl, a little Tito's and tonic, a little Hennessy and Coke, and think I'm gonna promote your brand for free? Porsha lies. I lost some of, she basically says that she wants to be taken more seriously and that she lost some of that identifying solely in the public as a wife. No, 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 no. That's not what happened, Peach Juice. What happened was you were such in a hurry to compete with Shamia because Shamia had found her rich African, and we're going to call it for what it is. The goal for Shamia and Porsha was for both of them to find rich Africans. It's just that Shamia found hers first. But you were such in a hurry to get with your rich African that you walked into your co-worker's home and walked out with her husband in her Hennessy. Come to find out, your rich African is a scammer. And now his black ass is locked up in some detention center in Texas. Girl, about to get shipped off to Africa. It wasn't nothing about you solely identifying as a wife. And then because you thought you had found your rich African, your dumb ass fucked around and quit all your jobs. You quit Bravo. You quit Dish Nation. You let Pampers by Porsha, or whatever it's called, Pampered by Porsha, fall to the wayside. And now you're running back because now you got to take care of you and Pilar. Because the nigga who you married and had your daughter sitting on his lap, you found out he been scamming since 1971. That's what happened. Be very clear. Be very clear. That's what happened. And now you got to pick up the pieces because you wanted to be a kept woman, because you quit your jobs, your $1 million plus jobs. Because Porsha was pulling in over $1 million with Bravo Dish Nation, plus this pulling easy over $1 million for an allowance from a motherfucking scammer. When I tell you I cannot make that shit up, Porsha quit her job to receive an allowance from a scammer. That's y'all girl though. Anyways, she says now I can put that hat down and pick up the one that's going to pay the bills. Girl, I'm not gonna lie. When Kelly and Bang Bang Edie walked in, and the guy that was at the front, girl, ain't gonna let that nigga was fine. I was like, girl, he was kind of fine, girl. That nigga was fine to me, girl. The nigga who was handing out the drinks, that nigga was fine. He asked, would they like to double fist? I'm not gonna lie, girl. I forgot all about people calling it a double fist. My reaction was the same as Britt and Kelly's. Girl, what you girl, double fist? Girl, what? Even I was like, girl, what double fisting? Girl, what you talking about? Anyways, okay. So Kelly is telling Shamia, girl, this is getting too long. Y'all, we need to hurry up. Okay. So basically, Kelly is telling Shamia about what's happening between Angela telling Porsha the conversation that they had. Now, this is when Shamia got the game all fucked up. Shamia, in my opinion, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I watched that at least 3 or 4 times, that scene. And it sounds like to me, Shamia is trying to pull the old switcheroo. She's trying to paint it as though, and I'm about to defend Porsha. She's trying to paint it as though Angela went and talked about her to Porsha, and Porsha didn't shut it down or have her back the way that I would have had her back. Now, Porsha hasn't made a big deal out of what Angela has told her. I could see if Porsha started dragging Shamia with the information that Angela handed to her. But Porsha didn't drag Shamia. Now, she started crying, but she didn't drag Shamia. So for Shamia to try to paint the switcheroo as if Porsha sat there and just dogged her out, quiet as it's kept, even though I don't think Shamia was dogging Porsha out, it doesn't take away from the fact that you still had a conversation about your friend with some bitches who you just met. But Shamia trying to paint it as though, oh, girl, I want some reciprocity from Porsha because, girl, you sitting here letting them talk about me and talk about us, and I wouldn't do that. But, girl, you said and talked about y'all to her. You know what I'm saying? And again, Porsha has, I would think it would be different if Porsha came back to Shamia like, bitch, blah, 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 blah. She ain't even did that. And even sitting down with Angela, she didn't do it. She didn't do it then either. I'm not giving Porsha too much. I'm gonna stop right there because I'm about to tug on her wig just a little bit. So they start to talk about the wedding. All this stuff is coming up. Cynthia says, I hate when the circle breaks up friendships. And I saw, hold up, y'all. Okay, so I'm back. That was my sister's girl calling me being messy. So I could, girl, it was, okay. I'm back. I've been on the phone for about 30 minutes being messy. Okay, so listen, I'm back. So, okay. Okay. So I'll start right here. I know I brought up Cynthia, but I'll get to Cynthia in a little bit. So the things start to come up. Oh, no, I'm going to bring up Cynthia because it's going to lead me into what I'm about to say. So at one point in the conversation, towards the end of the conversation, Cynthia says, I hate when the circle breaks up friendships. And I've seen people, and this is just my opinion, I've seen people say, reality TV breaks up, relationships, whether it's like friendships or marriages. I think that reality TV breaks up those friendships and marriages that are already a hot ass mess. I think that if you have a solid relationship, whether it's a friendship or a marriage, there's nothing that can be broken up. However, I do believe that when people get onto reality TV and they have skeletons in their closets, they have things that they actually really haven't worked through, even if they said they have, I do think that that could be a recipe for your marriage or relationship, friendship to come to an end. And that's not necessarily on reality TV. That's the fact that y'all probably more than likely just will sweep stuff under the rug and not really deal with it head on. I feel like with Shamia and Porsha, they have not dealt with the things that have happened in their friendship head on. Because if they had, it would not be up for discussion. If Shamia was really and truly over the things that Porsha has done in their friendship, then even when the conversations will come up, Shamia would shut it down instantly. But Shamia is not shutting it down instantly because Shamia, one, is not over it. Two, they never really worked out what happened. So now when the conversations come up, it's, oh yeah, I was hurt. Instead of Shamia, if they had really worked through the problems with her and Porsha, it would be, girl, we've already worked through those issues. We talked about it in detail. There's nothing there. Porsha and I are great. But she can't say that because Porsha and her are not great. So now when people start to have questions, when people start to bring up things like Phaedra or the wedding, now it's, oh, people are trying to tear down Shamia and Porsha's friendship. No, Porsha actually tore down her friendship with Shamia. And that's why I can't give, my glasses crooked. That's why I can't give Porsha too much, because we don't even have to go back to the things that transpired seasons ago. We can just go back a couple of episodes this season. It's kind of like when people bring up Chris Brown and Rihanna. We ain't even got to bring up Rihanna no more. We could just bring up Karrueche and the other bitches that have been involved with Chris Brown. We could leave Rihanna alone. Okay? It's other girls after that. Not necessarily he probably beat on, but there are stories there. You see what I'm saying? So, let me get into this. So they start to talk about the reason why Porsha didn't go to the wedding. See, and this is what I'm talking about. They have not worked through those issues because we are really having a conversation about Porsha not attending Shamia's wedding. And this was something that happened how long ago? And it's still a part of the conversation years later because they have never worked through their issues. Because there would be no reason to have a conversation about Shamia's wedding. Because Shamia over here about to have her third child. And we still talking about Porsha. I'm not defending Porsha, but I'm saying the conversation is still going up about Porsha not attending Shamia's wedding. Let me say this. I told y'all. And I hate to use the J word because I feel like it's like a lazy read. And I feel like it only should be used when it's evidence there. And the J word is the jealous word. I'm talking about jealousy. I really do believe that Porsha was jealous and envious of Shamia, and I do believe that happened this season. When Porsha said that she didn't go to her wedding because they were not speaking a couple of months prior, and then Shamia started to interrupt her. No, you said blah. Remember, I think Porsha said she said something along the lines of she wasn't going because I think it was the seats. The seats were going to be uncomfortable. I think it was because she couldn't fly first class. Again, correct me if that wasn't one of the excuses that she gave. I don't remember her saying though that her and Shamia were not talking. Now, let's work on this timeline. I don't know if this was a season or not. I said in my live, like what, I don't know. We went live. It wasn't the other night. It was the one before that. That when I sit back and thought about it, I really do believe in my heart of hearts that Porsha tried to sabotage Shamia in her wedding. Because what other reason would Porsha have to have sat there and allowed Phaedra to say on TV, and this was around the top of Atlanta being like pulling in millions and millions of viewers, I believe. You let this lady get on TV and say about your best friend that she was popping it low for Candy and Todd, even if it was the truth, you should have told Phaedra to shut her goddamn mouth because that's not the truth, even if it was the truth. But she didn't say that. And I feel like she didn't say that because in my head, girl, I believe that Porsha and Shamia both had a pact that we're going to find rich Africans and girl, we're going to sell off into the sunset and be taken care of for the rest of our life, right? The thing is, Shamia found her rich African, Porsha hadn't found hers. So I do believe there was some jealousy there. That's why it was so easy for Porsha to sit there and let Phaedra say what she said. Be very clear. So now I don't know if this was around the time, was it the season after or the same season when they probably started to fall out? And is that probably part of the reason why they didn't speak for a couple of months? I'm not sure. But I believe that all of that still probably happened around the same time. I don't think, again, just to kind of piggyback off what I said earlier, I don't think it's fair to try and put the demise of Porsha and Shamia's friendship on the backs of the girls in this group, reality TV, the viewers, the YouTubers, because then it starts to take accountability from where the accountability should be placed. And most of the accountability should be placed on Porsha Williams' shoulders. We're not going to sit here and play this game that Porsha ain't did the shit she did to Shamia. Now, don't get it twisted. Shamia was voicing her having an issue with some of the ways, or the way that Porsha has shown up in her friendship. But I don't believe that Porsha was just bad mouthing. I don't believe that Shamia was just bad mouthing Porsha. This is the first time where we have heard of there being evidence or people saying that Shamia even said something negative about the friendship that she has. And I'm saying negative like this: negative about the friendship she has with Porsha. We have documented evidence, footages of Porsha doing some low down dirty shit to Shamia. Again, we ain't even got to go back to Candy and Todd. We can just start a few weeks ago when she set her black ass down to that goddamn table and Shamia was about to play her song because she played in Shamia's face. And that is why, to wrap all of this up, Porsha still is not a good friend. And Porsha still is not being held accountable for her actions. Y'all can try to blame reality TV all day long and the YouTubers and the viewers, but that is Porsha Williams. Porsha said right here in season 16, this is seasons after all the shit happened that y'all know what we just said we weren't going to bring up with Candy and Todd. And she's still showing that she's not a good friend to Shamia. She's still choosing to show up in this friendship all wrong. It's still giving jealousy and envy, girl, in season 16. So we can try to play the game of, it's reality TV. Oh, it's the YouTubers who are trying to break up our relationship. It's the viewers. It's the fans. No. We wouldn't have shit to call out if it wasn't nothing to call out. But again, Porsha is showing us the way that she shows up in relationship with Shamia. To the point where she doesn't even know Drew's singing voice. And she's singing at a table where Shamia is playing her song for the first time for the group. And she's saying, oh, that's Drew. Girl, when you gonna show up? That's not your voice. And this is someone who has sang with Shamia, girl, grew up with Shamia. So out of everybody in the motherfucking room, shout out to Candy Burris, girl, you know Shamia's voice. I don't know Shamia's voice. So if you played a song between Shamia and Drew, I would probably get confused. You see what I'm saying? But you know Shamia's voice because you have sang with Shamia before. And you and Shamia have been friends since middle school. And as much as Shamia opened up her goddamn mouth singing on TV, I know Shamia just walk around all the time just singing. Girl, do re mi fa sol la ti do. Girl, okay. And to try and put the way that Porsha shows up in her friendship, it takes away the accountability. Not y'all, but people, you cannot take away the accountability that should be placed at the feet of Porsha and put it on the YouTubers, the viewers, the friend circle, or anybody else, because that falls solely on Porsha. Because Porsha shows up the way she shows up in the relationship she has with Shamia, and she's still doing it to this day. Even at the beginning of this season, she knew that was Shamia's moment when she showed up to Shamia's birthday party late. She knew what she was doing and then blamed it on traffic as if she's not born and raised in Atlanta. You know the fucking traffic. I don't know the traffic in Atlanta. So if I came to Atlanta and somebody invited me to something and I left my home at 6 o'clock thinking that the traffic done died and I didn't get there till 8:30, it's because I really didn't know. But Porsha, who's born and raised, she knows the traffic. She knows what time her black ass needs to leave the house in order to get to her best friend's party on time. So if you know the party started at 7, you knew it was going to be traffic, your ass should have left quiet as a skip at 1 o'clock and just got ready at her house. Shamia live in a goddamn museum down there. I'm sure you could have found a corner to pop and squat to get your ass ready for your best friend's party. You know how many times I done got dressed at my friend's house? If we say we going out, girl, I'll just come to your house and get ready. Girl, I done had a whole apartment. And I'm going to that house. I'm going to just take a shower at your house. Girl, I'm just going to come after work. Bag packed, panties packed. Okay? Plenty of times. Shitting and showering. And then we hit the scene. Let me look over my notes. I think that's it, y'all. I gotta go because I gotta go to the gym. Hold up, y'all. And it's already 11 o'clock. I'm probably not gonna get there till like 11:30. Ooh, I'm probably not gonna get there till midnight because I gotta get this video up. Hold up. We gotta hurry up. Okay, let me slow down. I'm rushing. That's why I always forget shit because I'm gonna forget something. Oh wait, okay, let me slow down. Okay, I'm rushing. Okay, let me slow down. Okay, I keep saying let me slow down, but I'm rushing. Also, I'm with Shamia. Okay, I'm with Shamia on that one. Is Drew still working with girl? Ralph was trying to get T out of Porsha about Drew's finances. Angela, she's a fool. Sorry, Angela. I know you probably watch our videos, but you was a fool. Talking about it ain't nothing but a baby. Ain't nothing but a motherfucking baby. Girl, please. When I tell you, baby, y'all will not leave a nigga. If y'all not leaving niggas over they cheating, and y'all not leaving over babies. And girl, what's gonna make you leave? Okay. Drew is telling Angela that basically Drew was trying to. Oh, okay, I see. But I said my handwriting be so sloppy when I'm taking notes sometimes. It's like gibberish, girl. She's afraid to have a convo. Doesn't want to be looked at as your lapdog. Oh, well, I mean, like I said, girl, you the one girl, that was your fault, Shamia. Pampered by Porsha. Girl, Porsha wants to be a kept woman. She said she was gonna be retired by 40. Girl, you married a scammer. Talking about she was gonna be retired by 40. Girl, the money ain't good. The money ain't good and the money ain't long. And now you have to get your black ass back to work when she should have kept her job. When I would never forgive Porsha. I would never let Porsha. Y'all think I be trying to read Porsha, but I'm really like giving Porsha her props. Porsha should have never quit her jobs. Porsha damn near could be running Bravo. Porsha could be running the Real Housewives of Atlanta if we're gonna be honest. And what Porsha should have done was Porsha should have stayed her black ass down to Atlanta, let Kenya and Marlo girl tug on her wig, and then sail off in the sunset with Simon, have her spinoff show. We already know the story, but that's another thing too. And that's why I don't really too much feel sorry for Porsha, because Porsha is never held accountable. Porsha wants to cry. And this is another thing where I was like, I don't feel sorry. I felt sorry for her at first, but now I was like, this is what Porsha does. When Porsha gets caught up into some shit and when she's about to be held accountable for the shit that she's done, she does it all the time. She starts to cry. She did it when she put her hands on Kenya. She did it when she put her hands on Cynthia. She did it when she was acting a fool in Mexico, throwing plates across the room. And she just did it tonight. Now it's time for you to be held accountable for your actions and words. And now you want to cry. Fuck them tears. She does it all the time. And that's why I say it's not fair to take away the accountability, because that's why Porsha keeps moving the way that she moves. You're not going to blame Cynthia, the friend group, on the demise of the friendship. Baby, that's Porsha. And Shamia, because Shamia let the shit go on. And she never really dealt with it. That's why the shit is coming up and it's causing so much chaos. Because again, it was never handled. They probably just talked about it. All right, girl, I'm going to forgive you. And then it was done. But Shamia never really forgave Porsha. And they never really had an in-depth conversation about really what the shit that transpired. Because if we're going to be honest, after Porsha pulled that stuff with Phaedra on TV, that friendship would have been over with. It would have been nothing else to talk about. Especially if you're not going to own up to the shit that you just did. I know it's hard to throw away friendships when you've been friends with people since middle school and high school. I know it is difficult. Please don't get it twisted. It is difficult. Because it's only so much somebody can take. At some point, just like a marriage, girl, This is gonna have to come to an end. I'm not gonna allow you to keep disrespecting me. Okay, y'all, that's it. I gotta go. It's 10:57. I gotta get this video up and get to the gym. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good night. But if I forgot something, we'll have to just talk about it later on. Okay, bye, y'all.